Alright, welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. We are at a lovely, cold, early morning. It's wet, it's very low visibility. We're in Copenhagen, and we're going to be flying the CRJ, the Aerosoft CRJ-700, from Copenhagen down to Paris Charles de Gaulle. So, let's jump aboard, and we will start getting things set up. Right, so I'm using Pushback Express. That's what's setting up the jetway. And it's going to manage some of the external vehicles and stuff as well. Right. Let's start getting things powered up. Okay, so first thing we would do is check the circuit breakers. Once again, these aren't modeled, but you would come along here and just look down the sides, make sure that none of them have popped out. That all looks good. Make sure that nose wheel steering is set to off, which it is. Hydraulic pumps should all be off at this point, which they are in the middle. Landing gear lever down. That's good. Spoiler lever up. Flaps up. Right, radar should be off. Let's double check that. That's off. Then these guys over here, so ADG manual release should be stowed. Emergency flap should be set to normal. Right, that's all good. Parking brake is set. We can jump up here now and get some power on board. Okay, so now what we want to do is, I wonder, that should be setting up our external power. Looks like it is. Maybe I still need to do it from the menu here, so we'll go and do that quickly. So we have external power now, which is good. Okay, so batteries on. The APU will start just now. Gear and safety pins, obviously that's not modeled. Aircraft documents. I've got checklists, I've got charts and everything in front of me on my iPad. Right, then hydraulic pump 3A we can set to on. The other thing we're going to do is lights. So nav, logo, we can turn on the wing lights as well, just because the vis is bad. We'll also do these emergency lights we can arm. And then windshield heating we can set to low. Right, that looks good for now. Let's get ourselves bit of light, just because it's pretty dark, obviously because of the cloud cover. Right, so now we have a bit of lighting. Then I'm going to pop our IRS 1 and 2 into nav and let that start aligning. Okay, then I think next we can... We're not going to do a walk around, but before we do that, let's test oxygen. Okay, so oxygen is tested. External lights are set. Right, loadout. Let's go ahead and do that. So, zero fuel weight today is 26300. Oops. And fuel on board, 447, I always forget to do that, 4470. Right, let's set that and copy that to the FMS. I think we'll have to do that again anyway because I haven't actually filled out the flight plan yet, but that's fine. Right, now that we've done that, we can come up here and we can turn these guys on so that we're ready to start. We can also turn these on. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be on or not. Aft cargo, I don't think so. Anti-ice, we might actually need the anti-ice, to be honest. We'll also turn the probe heats on. Right, make sure that this is set to both. Auto, normal, that's good. Right. That's all checked. We can actually now turn on, or turn the rest of these, set the rest of these to auto. And then ELT should be armed. And we've done all of these. Cool. Double check that nose wheel steering is off, which it is. Right. Let's set our trims now that the hydraulics are on. So takeoff, we want 7.2. We're currently at 7.5. Okay, so there we have 7.2. And we can now do the rest of our FMS setup. Okay, so we are at EKCH. Where's H? There. Right, let's zoom in a little bit here. Okay, our route for today. So something I like to do is actually set this up first. No, not yet. Let's put the airports in first. So EKCH. And we are going to LFPG. Right, now we can come in here and do our departure first. So we are doing Lango 1 Charlie. Lango 1 Charlie. And the runway is 22 right. Right, so we'll execute that. And now we can come back here and edit this. So after Lango, we are going direct to LPAT. And then direct to Bub. A lot of directs in this flight plan. And then direct DLOM. Okay, and then from DLOM, we are going via UZ319 to Mopil. So, Mopil. And then that is actually our arrival. So we are doing Mopil 9 Juliet, which doesn't seem, oh no, never mind. We need to do arrival. Okay, now we need to look for it. Mopil 9 Juliet, and double check the runway. 27 left. ILS 27 left. Right, let's just have a look through all of this. Where is that disconnect? Oh, it's because of the vectors, I'm suppose. Why is it showing up here though? Let's just do this. Okay, so that'll fix that one. And then that disconnect is because of the vectors. That's fine. Right, now what we need to do is just jump back here and resend this information to the FMS. I'm not sure why that opened. Oh, that's probably Pushback Express opening that. Just want to make sure that this is set, that it hasn't changed anything. And it looks like it has, because our trim has changed. 26.3. Let's double. Yeah, 26.3. And this should be 4470. So that is correct. But our trim has changed. So let's quickly go and redo that. What was it now? I didn't actually look. 6.5. Right, so there's 6.5. Okay. So trim is set. Now we can turn on your dampers, stay up trim, and the mic trim. This can also come to standby as a backup radio. Not too important when we're flying like this, but in any case, we'll turn it on. Right. Okay, so before start, check this now. Passenger signs on and on. We will start the APU while we do this because we need that for the start. We need to set the landing elevation. So let's have a look again at our flight plan. And our landing elevation is 392 feet.
Kastrup ground, Foxtrot, Hotel Golf Zulu Romeo requesting pushback.
No, don't do that.
Foxtrot, Hotel Golf Zulu Romeo pushback request accepted.
I do this so often. Okay, that should sort that problem out. Right, so now
Foxtrot, Hotel Golf
we need to turn this little
the end of pushback
knob up here and set the landing elevation over there. So this is a little difficult to read.
Pushback received.
So I think that's about 390, 380. So we can go one click up. Is that 390? Oh, that goes to 400. So we'll go back down. Yeah, okay. So 400 is closer than 380. So we'll do that. Right, so landing elevation set. Altimeters. Right, let's double check the weather. Right, EKCH, QNH 1004. So let's dial that in. 1004. Did it set that on that side? No. Also, your lights are off. So let's get rid of that, and we'll do why can't I? There we go. 1008. So we need to go down. $1004. Okay, so altimeter is 1004 set, and cross-check. What we should actually do is set it on here as well. So we're looking at the top one. Okay, so now all of our altimeters are set. FMS we've done, IRS set to nav and it is aligned. Radios we're not too worried about. Okay, now we have to have a look at our takeoff. Okay, so we're going to be taking off from 22 right. And we're doing the, I think it was Lango 1 Charlie. So let's, first of all, have a look. We'll pin our airport chart. We need to have a look at departure briefings. And we'll have a look at these general briefings as well. Okay, then our departure is oh, there we go. There go 1 Charlie. Just not reading properly. Okay. So, airport briefings. Right, noise abatement. Okay, we're not going to overfly that because we're following the SID in any case. Runway restrictions, we're after 6. So, 22 right is in use. 22 right shall be used for takeoff, 22 left for landing. We did set 22 right. Let's double check. I'm pretty sure. Yes, we did. Okay, that's good. Right, that's fine. We're using 22 right. Helicopters does not apply to us. That's after hours. Helicopters. Nighttime restriction doesn't apply. Right, that's normal transponder. So let's have a look. Do we have on our transponder? No, we don't. It's set to auto. So that actually reminds me, we should set this. 1324, and it's on alt, so that is fine. We don't need to worry about that. Okay, then briefing 3. Taxi procedures. Minimum engine power, that's fine. Okay, that's all about marshals and adjacent aircraft. Obviously, we would contact before we push back. That's fine. Don't cross any stop bars. Right, that's all pretty standard stuff. Okay, follow me car is not going to apply to us, and neither is the marshaller, so we can close that. And go to briefing 4. APU. APU may be used 5 minutes before takeoff, so we've actually started ours just a little bit early, to be honest. Okay, so what is our outside temperature? It is currently 11. Right, that doesn't apply to us. Cool. Ships, so this is a bunch of obstructions. That's runway 4. Anything for 22 right. Being towed. Yep. Okay, that's all pretty basic stuff. Right, then specific departure briefing. Okay, de-icing we don't need to do. Tower gives us permission to cross runways. That's pretty normal. That's about our block time. Delivery, startup, pushback. Okay, none of that we're actually going to do because we don't have rail ATC. Okay, jet aircraft. So we are only allowed to actually start our engines once pushback is completed. That's important. Maximum speed 250 at or below flight level 70. We will stay below that restriction all the way up to 10,000 feet anyway, so that's not an issue. Then, noise abatement. 22 right. Turn must not be committed until having... That's fine. We'll follow the SID. Lost comms doesn't apply. Neither does data link. Okay, let's have a look at the airport chart. Oh, something I missed. I just realized. Before we look at that, is we didn't put in our cruise altitude. 380, that seems very, very high. I don't think we're going to do 380, that's too high. Okay, that's all done. Yeah, let's do 320 rather. That'll be a lot better for this route. Now let's have a look at our airport. The first thing we need to do is work out where we actually are. So let's close that chart and find the parking stands chart. Because we are stand Bravo 2. Right, so here's Bravo 4. I don't see a 2. But we must be on this Bravo ramp here. Let's jump outside and take a quick look. Because it is fairly common for the names in Flight Sim to not match the real world names. So yeah, that's quite a big section there with the open space. So that's this over here. Okay, so we are on this side. So maybe we actually, I think, Bravo 4 it looks like. That's actually where we are, right? And we need to get from... So we're going to taxi... This taxiway is Mike. And then we've got Yankee and Zulu going in either direction. So once we get onto Mike, where do we go from there? Okay, so we're up here. And we need to get... to right, so we're going to go Mike and we need to get onto Alpha, so we'll go Mike, left on Zulu and then right on Alpha and then Alpha all the way down. Oh no, sorry, not all the way down, Alpha just to Alpha 5 for takeoff. Okay, so Mike, Zulu, Alpha, Alpha 5. Okay, that looks good. Then our departure. Let's double check. Very simple. We go Rubat, and then from Rubat we turn to Tobis, and then Mango. Okay, that's very simple. Any restrictions, 250 up to 7,000 feet, that's normal. Transition altitude, it's 5,000 feet. So we'll set that. Right, otherwise, that's all pretty straightforward. So let's go through and finish off our checklist and then we are ready to go. So We can only start our engines once we are done pushing back. Pushback Express actually has 2 minutes to go until we are completed with all the ground handling, so that's cool. Right, so we make sure the APU is on, which it is. We make sure takeoff data is set, doors should all be closed. Let's double check that. Close, close, close. We can remove the chocks. That's all closed. Right, all good. We'll turn the beacon light on in a second. Fuel pumps should be on. And then obviously parking brake will release when we are ready to push. Right. Okay, so about a minute to go, and then Pushback Express is ready to rock and roll. So I think what we can do then is turn this on. Okay, so Pushback Express doesn't actually want to play the game, so we're going to leave that for now. We will get our Copilot once again to manage the comms. I think the jetway is reconnected for some reason. Let's get rid of the jetway. This sometimes takes
Kastrup ground
forever.
Foxtrot, Hotel Golf Zulu Romeo. Could you please disconnect the jetway from the aircraft?
Right, the other thing we can do so long then is set this up. So we'll be following the GPS and we're going up to 32,000 feet, so we can set that off the bat. Jeez, this is taking forever. Maybe they don't reply. Let's get pushback. And then from
Kastrup
there,
ground, Foxtrot,
she
Hotel
should
Golf Zulu
probably
Romeo
just
requesting
handle
pushback.
the radios.
Foxtrot, Hotel Golf Zulu Romeo pushback request accepted.
Okay, in fact, I'm going to turn this off. We'll sort this out because we can only start our engines once we've completed the push in any case. Right, so they don't give us a chance. They don't stop and ask us to release the parking brake, so we'll release it now. And then, do we say steer left?
Kastrup ground Foxtrot, Hotel Golf Zulu Romeo requesting pushback to steer the aircraft to the left.
Okay, that is the correct direction, luckily. Wow, the visibility is not great.
Foxtrot, Hotel Golf Zulu Romeo, your request has been transmitted to the operator.
Right, we can ask him to stop now.
Kastrup ground Foxtrot, Hotel Golf Zulu Romeo requesting the end of pushback.
Right, let's set the parking brake, and then we'll go ahead and start the engines. That should not still say available.
Foxtrot, Hotel Golf Zulu Romeo request
Why does
to
that
end
still say
pushback received.
connected? Interesting. I thought that automatically disconnected when you remove the chocks. Obviously not. Okay. Let's go ahead and start the left engine. Right, so we can flip this up now. While that's happening, we can also turn on some lights. So we can do the taxi lights. And that's all we need for now. We can also arm the nose wheel steering. Right, let's get engine 2 started.
Gear disagree.
Gear disagree. The gear is down, and it's definitely down, or we wouldn't be able to push back. Interesting. Right, so engine 2 is starting up. We'll go ahead and turn on the weather radar. And our transponder, we can set that to 1 so that that's actually going to work now. Right, the other thing we need to do is we're doing flaps 8 and it is definitely wet. We'll set all of those speeds for us. Is that an ice warning? No. Isolation. Open. It was in the closed position, it's now open. Okay, that's still on. Anyway, maybe that'll go off when we switch off the APU, which we can do now. Right. Okay, after start checklist, generators auto. They all are. Electrics all good, no lights. Lead valves auto, yep. Packs are both on. APU is now off. Anti-ice is not currently required, although we might. In fact, I think we'll turn it on. Nose wheel steering is armed. Right, let's set the flaps. Position 8, or 8 degrees, I guess. Trims 6.5, and they're all green. Thrust reverse is armed, which we most likely won't even use, but we'll arm them anyway. Fire instruments all look good, and I think we can release the brakes and start our taxi. Okay, taxi lights are on, so we're going to go down here on Mike, left on Zulu, right on Alpha, Alpha to Alpha 5. Now I wonder, we should have a wiper somewhere. Here it is. Does it do anything? No. Okay, moving on. Okay, let's see. So this is Mike and Zulu. That's perfect. So it looks like the labels are correct. So we shouldn't have any problems here. Okay, so left on Zulu. Oh, actually, I think the next one's Zulu. Yeah, we are on Yankee now. Oops. We turned a little early. It's not going to change our route here. It's just if we were following ATC instructions, that would have been a bit of a mess up. Okay, then this is Alpha, so we're going to turn right here. Okay, then we're going to follow Alpha until we see Alpha 5. Now, does Alpha go straight or turn? I think we just go straight here. Actually see, I think these things face the other way. But yeah, this will be Alpha here. That was Charlie that goes off to the left. Okay, so we are good. Right, so then we should pass Delta connecting from the left. And then we have Alpha 1, Alpha 2, Alpha 3, Alpha 4, and then we take Alpha 5. So this must be Delta over here. Yeah. There we go, so that's Delta. I don't know why my view sometimes jumps back to that random view at the back there. That's not even one that I've actually set. Anyway. Okay, so now we just count the taxiways. So there's 1. 2. Glorious day for flying. Okay, so that should be 3. And then there's a bigger gap. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 all have a similar size gap. But then after the bigger gap is Alpha 5, and that's the one we are taking for our departure. So that's 4. Here we have the big gap. So we're going to take the next one. Right, let's get our lights set up then. So landing lights can come off. We'll turn off the taxi lights. Wing lights and logo lights can also come on. Strobes can come on. Sorry, wing and logo lights off, not on. If I remember correctly, I don't think the weather radar actually works in this aircraft yet. Okay, let's go through the checklist. And we'll imagine ATC has cleared us onto the runway. So lights and strobes on. Fuel cross flow. Auto, yeah. Then, bleeds and APU. Oh, flight attendant is advised. Transponder is on. Radar we have on, but I don't think it actually functions yet. And there's no warnings. Let's sync up our heading just in case we need it. Oh, I read that wrong. Fuel crossflow should actually be set to manual. So fuel crossflow manual. Right. Okay, I think we are ready to go. I'm just sorting out my desk arrangement here to get things out the way. Right, so we can power up, keep ourselves on the center line. So there's climb, there's toga. Everything looks good so far. B1, rotate, ooh, bit of a crosswind. Right, positive rate, gear up.
Golf Zulu Romeo, you were not cleared to take off.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Because we spoke to them, they're gonna shout at us. Okay, let's get the autopilot on here because we've got quite a few things to do. And we'll put it in speed hold. And we will set our speed up to, I normally do 235. just to be safe. And we can start bringing the flaps up. I actually need to move this view not up, forward a little bit. So these displays are actually really small. Right. And ladies and gentlemen, if you look out of your windows, you will have a glorious view of Copenhagen as we depart. Yeah. Okay, we are en route. Let's have a look. Bring our thrust back to climb. Right. Fuel crossflow can come back to auto. Bleeds and APU are all set already. Thrust reversers can now come off. We don't have any, that's not the view I wanted. We don't have any warnings. Right, that is our climb checklist. Okay, we've passed 5,000 feet, which is our transition altitude. So let's come down here and set that to standard. And we can do the same here. And we should probably do it here too. Right, that's all done. Okay, then the next thing is landing lights off at 10,000 feet. Right, I wonder how high these clouds go. I thought we would have broken up by now. Does seem maybe it's just playing tricks on me, but it feels like it's getting a little lighter. And the weather in Paris is not supposed to be as gloomy as this, but we'll see when we get there. Well, still in the murk. Okay, once we reach 10,000 feet, like that, these guys can come off, and we'll bump the speed up to 280. And we will continue on our climb to 32,000 feet. I do that every single time I turn that one instead of this one. Right, let's go and change some of this because I don't need to see all of those. I do like to have the ETA though. And we can also set that up. Right, looking good. Still in the clouds, 11,000 feet. Not much to look at out of the window. Ah, there we go, starting to break through the clouds, or maybe that's just a little gap there. It looks like they still continue up quite a bit. So this is the one thing, I've never found flights in 2020's weather to be particularly accurate, because I'm now just looking. And 7 minutes ago, the METAR for Copenhagen was updated. Few clouds at 500 feet, broken at 2,500. I think we've got quite a bit more than that. QNH 1004. So Temperature 11. What is our temperature? Mind you, we obviously now at 13,000 feet, but the it was, I think it was 11 when we were on the ground, so that seems to match. Visibility 8,000 meters. Okay, maybe. Oh, there we go. Now we can actually see a little bit of sun. Right, it seems we are out of the worst of it. Actually looks quite nasty. I don't know if I would have flown into that if we had seen it coming in like this. But if I look at a satellite image of the clouds, okay, yeah, there is currently cloud cover over Copenhagen. Right, let's check what they have to say about Paris. So LFPG. Okay, so 28 minutes ago was the last meta update. Winds 2903, temperature 10, QNH 1010, and Cav okay. So not expecting, although there is a bit of high level cloud, it looks like, over Paris, and it is moving more over Paris. Let's look at some visibility. So no issues with vis. Geez, off the coast of France, it's terrible. There's a system moving in over northern Spain, France, and right across England and Ireland. It's just off the coast of France at the moment, so we'll arrive before that hits because it's moving inland. There are a few low clouds southwest of Paris, and they are moving over the city, so we'll see if those arrive before we get there. I think we might just miss those. Okay, but we are climbing nicely, 19,000 feet. I don't think we would have got up to 38,000. So I think I think we made a good choice, sticking to 32,000. This must be one of the few aircraft that's actually less work when you're climbing than when you're cruising. Because while we're climbing, we just leave the throttles in the climb position. Once we get to the cruise, we're actually going to have to keep adjusting them to maintain our speed. So right now is actually pretty chilled. Then again, I suppose any aircraft without auto throttle is the same, so. Right, just some scattered clouds down there at the moment. There's kind of the edge of what we just came out of. But looking like the weather's going to be significantly better once we arrive back in Paris. And just passing 22,000 feet. Alright, going to keep an eye on our Mach speed, because when that hits 0.74, then we'll maintain that speed. Right, 23,500 feet. All looking good. Mach 0.65. So according to this calculation, we're expecting to burn about 600 kgs of fuel. It's not, that doesn't seem like all that much, to be honest. Because we're currently 3750, and this is predicting we arrive in Paris with 3145. If that is correct, that means we have a decent amount of fuel to spare, which is always good. Although you don't want to carry too much fuel because, as the saying goes, you burn fuel to carry fuel. So because the more fuel you take, obviously the heavier you are, so then it takes more thrust to haul all that extra fuel around. So you actually kind of want to take as little fuel as possible, so you limit your weight. Right, so we should make a gentle turn off to the left shortly, just passing through 25,000 feet. We're only climbing at 800 feet a minute, so I really don't think we would have made it up to 38,000 feet. That shouldn't be up to 32,100, just 32,000. Right, 2 nautical miles to go to Lango. And then little left turn to Elpat. There we go. This is the one thing I do like about Flight Sim, is just how different the weather can be in such a short space of time. You can see the edge of that, huge cloud base that we took off from, and now it's completely open. You know, if you think back to other sims where you kind of had a set weather, well, I mean, it started off as set weather for, the entire world. And then it got more localized, so different regions would have different weather. But this is now, in small areas, you can have a huge difference in the weather. Okay, we're climbing pretty slowly, 700 feet a minute. We've just passed 26,000 feet. Mach 0.69. Yeah, so our fuel estimation at Paris has come down by over 100 kgs. So I don't know how accurate that calculation is just yet. It's also saying it's going to take us about an hour and 15 minutes from now, which does sound about right. I think it's just over 2 hours, this flight. That's one thing I've just realized I forgot to do, was start the chrono. Okay, Mach 0.7 now. Is that the autopilot just disengaging? Oh, I think I may have just, when I was scrolling, scrolled over the disconnect button. That's a bit awkward. But hey, that's why there's an audible warning. Right, so we're crossing over now into, that's not the view I wanted, into Germany. So this side is actually Germany. And here, off our right-hand side, is Denmark. I mean, obviously, we took off from Copenhagen, but I mean, this area here is all part of Denmark. And then we cross over into Germany over here. So I think actually ahead of us, somewhere just off there, is the actual border. And this is all Germany down here. So a lot more cloud once again over Germany. So our route takes us across Germany, a little bit through the Netherlands, across Belgium, and then into France. Right, our climb rate has really slowed down. Definitely we're not going to make it up to 38,000 feet. It would have taken forever. And Mach 0.72. It's at 0.74. That actually now sounds quite fast. Maybe I should double check that. Because the 737-200, which I fly a lot, is 0.74. Maybe I'm thinking of that. So let me double check that. So I have realized we should have actually gone up to 290 knots, not 280. Okay, so I don't actually see anything about cruise speed. It just says the standard descent speed is 0.74. Yeah, I don't see anything about cruise Mach, but I think we'll keep it 0.74 then. I haven't had issues with that before. We are climbing very slowly, so I think we might actually level off at 30,000 for a bit. And then we can complete our climb up to 32,000 once we've burnt off a little bit more fuel. So probably once we're approaching Bub, should be fine. clouds are definitely getting denser over that side. Another high level, another higher layer of clouds up there as well. Aha! I just realized. Should have turned off the anti-ice. That's using quite a bit of our engine power. That's one of the reasons why we're climbing so slowly. In fact, because we've done that, I think we can actually go straight up to 32. We'll speed up to... Well, we've passed 0.74 already, so it's actually fine. So let's flip this over to Mach and ask it to maintain 7.4. Right, that's why. Because the anti-ice uses a significant amount of engine power. And I felt like it was climbing a lot slower than normal. Was that in the after takeoff or the climb checklist? No. So, yeah, climb checklist doesn't mention anything about anti-ice. So that's just my bad. We actually can bring this down. Right, so now that we are leveling off at cruise, we are going to take manual control of the throttles. Well, we had manual control of them all the time, but we just left them in the climb detent. Now, we are going to be actively managing them to keep our cruise speed. Could possibly actually cruise faster than 7.4 if that's our descent speed. So, I mean, where we are now actually looks pretty good. Right, so I think I'll keep it there around 0.76. Okay, so now that we're up at cruise, aside from just tweaking the throttle every now and then, there's not all that much for us to do until we start prepping for the descent. So what I'm going to do is give you some outside shots of the aircraft, and I will join you again when it is time for us to prepare our descent into Charles de Gaulle. Alright, so we're coming up to our top of descent now. Actually a little fast, but it's time to start prepping. So first thing I want to have a look at is our ILS, and we intercept the ILS at 5,000 feet. So we're going to dial this down to 5,000. like so. So there, our top of descent point is over there. So we've got a little bit of time left. Right, I'm probably going to read through most of the briefing stuff while we are descending. But there's a couple of things we need to get set up. Okay, ILS frequency 264 degrees. And the frequency is 110.7. So let's come in here and go 110.7. And I don't think we actually can set the course now because, however, it should set that course automatically actually when we pick up the ILS, but we'll double check that. Right, so that's the frequency set. Okay, and then our arrival. So we're doing Mopil 9 Juliet. So we are coming in from Mopil max 280 knots. Let's double check that is all programmed in. So 280 at Mopil, perfect. Then Zeram. Are we going to Vebek? That's very interesting. I don't want to do that. Mind you, wow, that is part of the procedure. That's very strange. After Vebek, then we get vectored in. Huh, okay, that's interesting. Oh, I'm just looking at the wrong way. We don't go all the way back there. So after Vebek, we get vectored into the airport. Okay, no, that does make sense. No, I was just looking at it the wrong way. Okay, Vebek 250. 250, perfect. Okay, that looks good. So actually, because of this angle, I think we can just do this, to be honest. It's not a huge, it's not like a circuit or anything that we're flying parallel to the runway. We pretty much come straight in. The throttles are being a little bit strange on the CRJ today. You can see, just throttled back and then it sets it back up again. So we keep speeding up because it keeps throttling back up to the way higher than I've actually set it. Anyway, going back to our briefing. Right, so our arrival looks good. We come in at 5,000 feet, intercept the ILS. Perfect. How long before we hit top of descent? Not too long. Let's read through some of the briefings. Okay, noise abatement. Right. Nighttime restrictions, doesn't matter. Nighttime. Run-ups, doesn't matter. APU, okay. So they would rather not us use the APU. We should use the ground power when we arrive at the stand. That's fine. Okay, use of APU. Low visibility procedures not in force. Ground movement, that's all LVP. Read back your landing clearance, obviously. Okay. A lot of this doesn't actually apply to us because it's all specific to certain aircraft or certain situations. So we go through this pretty quickly. Transponder, we don't have mode S, so that's fine. Well, we don't have a ground mode for the transponder. After landing, we don't have transponder, so we'll stay in auto. That's fine. Cool. Alright, taxi procedures. Right, we're not any of those big aircraft, so we don't need to stress. We won't have any other traffic, so there's no issues with priorities. Right, we need to start our descent. So we'll pop it into speed hold and throttle back. Okay, there's a couple of tools we can use to help us with our descent rate. So we need to be below 260. So what I'm actually going to do is dial this up to 250. And then what we get is, we'll see it come up now. So we'll get a little purple arc that tells us when we are going to hit that whatever altitude we have set there. There it comes. So if we get that little purple arc around Mobile, then we'll know we're descending fast enough. Like something like that. And it's going to fluctuate because it actually is a little bit bumpy outside. Right, let's finish off going through the briefings. So we're actually in idle, and it looks all right. So we'll have a look at some more briefing information. Okay, holding points. That's fine. Okay, arrival, speed restrictions. 250 below 10, that's normal. No issues with that. Tactical speed instructions. Okay, ATC would give us speed, that's fine. Noise abatement, we are following our arrival, so that's not an issue for us. Reverse thrust should not be used further than, we're not going to use reverse anyway, so that's fine, but that's only for nighttime ops in any case. Okay, so I'm happy with our descent rate, so let's go and change this. There's the beep. So the other thing I will do is set this to 290. Okay, let's have a look at our next altitude restriction. So by Verbeck, below 110. So let's set 10,000, which I've actually already set, and make sure that we have that before Verbeck, which is after 0am. So we've got a bit of space to do that. Okay. Night procedures doesn't matter. Radar vectoring also doesn't matter to us. This is all night. Cat 2 and 3 we're not doing. Wake turbulence, we don't have any other aircraft. Oh, that's interesting. So if an A380 or an Antonov 124 is using the ILS, any aircraft in the final can expect ILS interference. That's interesting. Wonder why specifically those aircraft. Cool. Okay, minimum occupancy time, get off the runway as soon as possible. High intensity, we don't have to deal with traffic, so I do like to read through all this information. I do find it interesting, but not right now while we're flying and doing a video, if it's stuff that we obviously don't need. It's actually being very strange. Right, let's double check our QNH. In Paris is currently 1010, so let's dial that in everywhere. 1010 1010 and 1010. Okay, the other thing we need to do now is bring our speed down. So we'll do 240, so we're below that 250 knot restriction. Right, anything else in the briefing we need to know about? Holding points, that's all fine. Parking information, we'll have to pick a stand that we're going to go to. Parallel approaches, none of that really applies to us. Okay, so now we're taking a look at the airport. So we are coming in on, I've just gone completely blank on the runway. Double check our briefing, 27 left. Okay, so 27 left. We're arriving on over here. And then let's see. Okay, so I just looked to see if we had any specific stand assigned, which we don't. So we're going to pick one of these because this Terminal 1 looks really, really cool. So I reckon, I don't want to taxi crazy long, so if we do something like Whiskey 4 would be good. So let's maybe do that. So we are going to come in on 27 left. And we need to get to Whiskey. So that's going to be fairly simple. It depends where we vacate. But it'll probably be here at Delta 6. So then we'll go Delta 6, Delta, and Whiskey. But we'll double check that, obviously, upon landing to see where we actually vacate the runway, because that's going to make a big difference. Right, so I'm just adding in some power now because we're a little bit ahead of our descent path. Okay, so we're just passing through 12,000 feet now. So as we get to 10,000, the next thing we need to remember is landing lights. It is pretty cloudy here. So maybe that weather that I was looking at earlier has actually made it here. Because it didn't look this cloudy when I looked just after departure. Right, the other thing I'm going to do is just set our landing speeds. Okay, we're passing through 10,000 feet now, so let's go and turn on the landing lights. And then, do we have any other restrictions? No, that's the last one. So we'll dial it now down to 5,000 feet, which is the altitude we will intercept the ILS at. And we can continue our descent to 5,000. QNH is set 1010. Okay, flap speeds. So we can go all the way up to flaps 20 as long as we're below 213 knots. Not all that much to see outside because of the layer of clouds. So we are very much going to be IFR. Hopefully the visibility at the runway isn't too bad. We do have the ILS. It's really cool though. France world update. Keen to check out what everything looks like. Can't see anything because of the weather. Right, so coming up to 10,000 feet now, so we are fine on that restriction at Verbeek, because we need to be below 11. And we're also below 250 knots, so that's perfect. Right, any minute now, we will be going down into the soup. Looks like it says we need to be above 5,000 feet. Must have missed that. Yeah. So above 5,000 and then at 5,000 at the next one. It is actually a little bumpy, which I guess is to be expected going through the weather. Okay, that's our cue to put these guys on. Right, so we need to stay above 5,000 feet, but only just at the next waypoint. Because the one after that, we need to be at 5,000 feet. Right, should probably go through some checklists at this point. Okay, so landing elevation is set. Fuel, we've got 2 tons on board, more than enough. TCAS set. Weather radar's on, but it doesn't actually function. We don't have any warnings. Landing data is set. Approach briefing is complete. Let's see what this recommends for us. Only 600 feet per minute descent. Right, here we go into the clouds. Now there's really nothing to see outside, so we can stay at this close-up view. Okay, what is our approach speed? VREF 140. Oh, we're back. That was just one particularly high bit of cloud, but we'll be going in shortly anyway. Right. Pretty straightforward approach now from here. Basically, at the next waypoint, we're going to turn to line up with the runway. So I think just before then we'll actually we'll arm the approach mode. Let's sync up our heading just in case. And I'm just managing the power. So we want that magenta line to be just after the next waypoint. Oh, and now we actually have the rain as well. Right, that's 1,000 feet from our altitude that we have set. Ah, we can just see some ground there. It looks like these clouds are actually pretty low there. So this might be a fairly interesting approach. Alright, we've picked up the localizer, so that's alive now. And I think that's still showing us our descent path, not the glide slope. But we're going to arm the approach. And it said course 245, and I think it was 267. That's what we read, so that's a bit interesting. Obviously, the sim has a little bit of a different idea compared to the charts. So, our VREF was 140, so 145 is going to be our approach speed. A little bit of opening in the clouds there. So yeah, the clouds, and you can see the rain underneath as well. There we go, that means we've intercepted the ILS. Pretty low level. Right, we've passed that waypoint now, so we can actually get down to our 5,000 feet. That course is way off. Let me double check that course again. 264. Let's dial that in so that looks a bit better. Okay, 264 set. Right, we're just about to intercept the glide slope. So we're below 230 knots. So we can go flaps 1. Oh, it's flaps 1 and then flaps 8. And we can go all the way up to 20 as long as we are below. So we've intercepted the glide slope now. We'll go flaps 20 as well. And we're on the glide slope. Get down. Hey, we've got a little rainbow ahead of us. Right, double check. Next flap speed. So 185 and then 170 we can go full. And I'm going to set my speed bug to 145 just because it makes it easier to see the speed that we want to end up on final. There we go. So 185 is our next flap speed. Right, which we are now below. And then 170 is the next one, which we aren't quite below yet. But we're still relatively far out. We actually could have left the next stage of flaps a little longer. So we'll leave the final stage a bit longer. Right, then, the other thing we can do is arm the reversers, just in case we need them, which we most likely won't. Not planning to use them. We can go through the checklist quickly. So there's the flight attendant advised. Passenger signs on, thrust levers, well, thrust reversers are armed, landing gears down, flaps. We've got one more stage to go. Landing checklist complete. Now, the other thing I will do now that the gear's down is turn on the taxi lights. And I also like to put on the logo light. Okay, we're at pretty much exactly 170 knots. So, I think I can see the runway up ahead. Start bringing the power down. And we can get that final stage of flaps in. There's the runway there. Got a bit of a crosswind. It's showing 24 knots at the moment. Oh wow, it looks like 2 rainbows. I don't think I've ever seen another flight sim that has rainbows, to be fair. It is pretty cool. Right, so the visibility on the ground is actually not too bad. It's a bit hazy here. It looks like it should be raining, but I don't see any rain on the windshield. Oh no, there's a little bit. There must be rain here for the rainbow to occur. But not really that significant. Yeah, you can see little raindrops on the windshield. Ah, but it's nice and open as we approach the airport now. Alright, flaps are full now. Gears down and green. We are good to go. Taxi lights are on, landing lights are on. We're not going to use the APU. Right, and expecting to vacate at Delta 6, but we'll see.
1,000.
I don't have enough experience flying this aircraft to make exact promises about which taxiway I am going to vacate the runway on. Getting quite a significant stutter at the moment. Interesting. Right, let's take control of the aircraft. Do you feel like the autopilot's actually put us a little bit below the glide slope?
400.
Crosswind is pretty intense.
300.
Yeah, we are quite below the glide slope. Interesting.
200. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Right, there we go. Pretty intense crosswind. I've got a lot of rudder on to keep us straight. Did pull us quite significantly off to the left as we touched down. Right, it's making it difficult to brake because that's wanting to pull us off to the right. Okay, not the world's greatest landing, but I've had worse.
Please remain seated until the aircraft has come to a complete stop.
Okay, so this is, I think, Delta 4. if that is the case, we actually landed deeper than I thought. Now, I did wait longer than I normally would have to get the brakes on because of that crosswind. I think this is Delta 4, yeah. Okay, that's fine. Let's get flaps up. Right, so we're going to go all the way onto Delta, then we'll turn left. Landing lights can come off, strobes can come off. That's all good for now. Double check that the spoilers are down again, which they are. And we can disarm these guys. I don't know why this camera jumps back there every time. It's really annoying. Right, so this is Delta. So we're going to go left on Delta. And then I don't actually know what that taxiway is that takes us into the terminal. But it's Terminal 1 there. It's the big round one. And we said Whiskey 4, I think. Let's see if I can find out what that taxiway is. So it's taxiway. It looks like it's just 8. Interesting. We'll see when we get there. But it's that big round building. It's pretty difficult to miss. Oh, there we go. Bravo Delta 9. Let's see if we actually have that in the sim. Right, so normally we would start up the APU, but obviously the briefing said we should use the ground power rather. Oh, cool, we're going over a bridge. That's pretty cool. I did not know that Charles de Gaulle had that. It is a little stuttery here in Paris. Not gonna lie. Maybe just because of the world updates, this area has now got a little intense. It could be something that I'm running, because I did test this the other day and it was fine here, so something's a bit unhappy. It's not the worst I've seen Flight Sim, obviously, but it's not ideal. Okay, this is Bravo Delta 9 here, so we're going to take a right and we're going to go into Whiskey 4. So we'll turn off the taxi lights so we don't blind any crew. And I believe this is our stand, where there's no line going in there. I think it's supposed to actually be there. That's what it looks like on the chart, but we'll take this one. I think this one might actually be 5 then. But they don't have any numbers on the ground in the sim, so I think we might have ended up in 5. It's not really a big deal. I mean, it would be if we were flying online. Right, so parking brake is set. We need to get our chocks placed and the ground power, so we can accept that. Oh, that's automatically going to switch anyway. So let's shut down engine 2. I'm just waiting for that vehicle which seems to be driving through us currently, because I should be able to just click this. I wonder if it's just because this is on auto. But it also could be that we have to wait for that vehicle to actually sort its life out. What is it doing? And once he's ready, maybe then it'll be able to, we'll be able to activate the ground power. So let's just see. Dude, you are the worst parker I've ever seen. Oh, okay. Right, he's in position now. Maybe now we can accept it. Okay, obviously not. So let's just shut down, and then it should hopefully switch automatically. Which it definitely didn't do. That's what I thought would happen. So why can't I take the ground power? Oh, now I can. That's weird. Maybe I just had to wait a little longer. It wasn't actually ready. Right, well, it's not really that big a deal because we are shutting down the plane anyway. So, AP is off. We should have turned this off. Weather radar, but I always forget because it doesn't actually work. Flaps are up, lights and strobes, so everything's off except for the beacon and the nav, which actually we can turn the beacon off now. We can turn the logo off because it's actually pretty bright down here anyway. Right, probes we can turn off. Same with this. We definitely don't need these. We could have actually turned that off earlier. Mind you, we came out the clouds pretty much on final, so not too much of a problem. Right, these can come off. That all looks good. The fuel pump's off. We can also turn off the nav lights now, all the hydraulics. And we'll switch the signs off. This will go back to off. Right. Parking brake is set, seatbelts off, thrust levers shut off, anti-ice is off, fuel pumps are off, beacons off, nose wheel steering switch we haven't done yet. Pop that off. And then we can turn these guys off. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Paris Charles de Gaulle. I hope you enjoyed our flight today on this Air France Hop CRJ-700. If you enjoyed the video, you know what to do down below. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please feel free to let me know in the comments. And I will see you in the next video.